Charlie, you turning us up? Huh? 10-9-8-7-6-5-4. Good? Am I good? All right. Can they hear me? Testing, testing. We're ready to go, right? We're ready to go? Huh? Where is Sarah? We got dim the lights. Dim the lights. Sam.
Sure. Does it work? Charlie?
Very good. Did you do it? Did you?
Do it easily. Oh, see that window on the side there? Get that window off the screen.
Why don't you do it?
Hang on, one more minute. Where is that?
I just did it. It's good.
Oh, it's I think it was because that other window was on the screen. Is it working?
I can't go back. Wait a minute. Okay, good. Good. Good, good, good. Are we ready? What are you going to do? Dim the lights? And you're going to go first, right? Yeah. Dim the lights.
For some reason,
Who's presenting their own deals?
Daniel is.
That's just Daniel?
And I'm presenting the rest.
Okay.
And I'm presenting the rest, not yet.
Okay. And Daniel is which one again? Oh, right over
Right there, yeah. You want to make an announcement? Can they hear that?
Huh?
You got dim the lights. Can we dim the lights? Yeah, we got to get where you get seated. Yeah, we're getting ready to get started. Hey, Charlie, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can everybody else? We're ready to start. We're ready to start. All right, everybody take their seats. We're getting ready to get started. Hey, we're getting started, guys. Getting ready to get started. We got a lot to cover.
all right. Working. It's hard for me to tell because normally I scream and I sound like that, but it is working. Welcome everybody to our inaugural Clear Sky Deal Meetup. We're terrifically happy to have such a good turnout. I think, and Charlie will do more introductions as we get going, but most of you probably know Charlie Einsman already, who's up front. He's going to do most of the presentation. Feel free to ask questions throughout the process. We hope this is both informative and leads to real deals and real connections. We've been to many, many meetups and they're great, but we're trying to launch this as a way to have real deals and real connections that are going to lead to real profits, which is what everybody wants to do. And of course, for our newer people to see the live deals and analyze them together, I think you're going to learn a lot as well from the ground up. Don't feel bad if you're new and some of this is a bit of a fire hose coming at you. There's a lot of different pieces of these things, and we're not going to do a ton of introductory stuff. This is being sponsored by our group, Clear Sky Education. It's one of the Clear Sky companies. Most of you probably know Clear Sky Financial that Sam and Charlie run, does private lending. And there's also have Clear Sky Properties that has properties. Clear Sky Holdings does tax liens and other things. I'm involved with some of that, and I get called in as the lawyer when some fun things happen. Sam's our broker, and periodically we call Charlie our Maverick, or sometimes curse words, but usually Maverick is what we go with. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Charlie to take our presentation.
All right. This deals meetup actually came. I have to give a shout out to a guy by the name of Andre Johnson. Before COVID, he used to have a deals meetup in Oxon Hill. And so as a company or companies, we've sponsored a lot of different meetups. And so what has happened is I've been to a lot of meetups, and there's just a lot of things with meetups that I frankly don't like. And so what I did is all of us together, we created this agenda, right, so that you guys could get as much out of this evening as possible. Obviously, the number one reason why you're here is to make money. We get it. We all are trying to make money, but for us, we kind of want to create a community so we can make money together. So what we did is we built an agenda for the one that I liked if I was going to a meetup, if I was a new person. And so this is kind of what you're seeing. We're going to do a welcome, teach you guys, kind of tell you guys what we're doing. We're going to go over some success stories. If nobody here has any success stories, that's okay. Hopefully next meetup we'll have a success story. Giovanni, maybe I'll have you present one. Keith, maybe you could talk about a success story that you've recently done. Lauren, I'm not sure if you feel like talking about one. Tommy's not here. He recently just closed out on a flip. There's TNT. Is Tommy coming?
I don't think so.
All right, so Tommy's probably not coming. So Keith, you want to talk about one of your deals? Lauren, talk about yours, and then Giovanni, talk about one of yours. And then we'll go over, I'll probably skip the topic presentation for tonight because the boss lady, Sarah, running around here says we're not going to have time for it. So we might glaze over that so that we can get to what you guys are here for, and that's the deals. We're going to go through a case study. So everything that we're going to go through tonight, guys, it's either has been a live deal or they're live deals. Daniel's going to present a deal. I'm going to present a couple deals. I don't see the two wholesalers here that are supposed to present deals. So we're going to have a commercial property, a 6-unit apartment building that's ready to go in DC. We're going to have a development deal, and we're going to have 3 fix and flips. So those are the deals we're going to present. I'll do a case study. And at the very end, if we have time and you guys feel excited, if there's a deal that you might have under control and you want to present it, come on up. I'm not sure if we're going to have room for an ad hoc deal. All right? That's basically the way this thing is going to go. Welcome. You guys have these different color codes on your name tags, right? So a lot of times what I like to do is I like to understand who's in the room. The green name tags are for lenders. So we have Daniel here. Where you at, Daniel? Raise your hand. Daniel owns this company called Washington Capital Partners. Y'all heard of them? I think so. I think so. You heard of Clear Sky? Well, guess what? We're competitors, but we're not. We're called complementary competitors. So within this room, what'd you do, 300 million last year? 230. He did 230. We were close. So within this room, he's the big gorilla, we're the little gorilla. So we've done about $300 million in hard money transactions last year in this room. So if you guys came here because you need money, money's sitting in this room. If you came here because you're looking for wholesalers, wholesalers, raise your hand. The guys with the pink, raise your hand. Richard, I see you in the green. Ryan, you're here somewhere. Where you at, Ryan? Joel's a wholesaler. If you're a fix and flipper, I would beeline to these guys. I would go introduce yourself, get on their cash buyer list. All right? I also have a bunch of realtors here. Realtors, raise your hands. All right, you guys looking for a realtor, look out. I've got commercial agents here. If you're a commercial agent, raise your hand. Right? I think Joy. Yep. You're not an agent. We got commercial people in the room. I've got wholesalers, fix and flippers, money guys, title companies, other service providers, raise your hand. Chrissy's a title company. You're title too?
No, service provider.
What do you, also contractors, raise their hands. All right, we got contractors in the room. So basically, guys, there's only one thing missing in the room. What's that? What's missing?
Lawyer?
Oh, yeah, lawyer. We got lawyer. Now, what's the thing that's missing, guys?
The whole room down.
We have put it all together. What's missing, guys? The missing thing is deals. Well, you guys have come here for a reason. You guys have come here for deals, and that's what we're going to go over. Here it is. What is it? It's a monthly meetup designed for anyone looking to connect, right? Number one, 6:30 to 7 o'clock is your prime time. 9 to 9:30 is your prime time to connect and network. Obviously, prime time is hear me speak. No, I'm just kidding. Who cares? You'll learn something. Most importantly, this is a space where you can showcase your deal and get them closed. Anybody and everybody in this room is here to get a deal closed. Whoever you need. You need hard money, they're there. You need a loan officer. You need a DSCR lender. We're here. Debt service coverage ratio. You want to buy a buy and hold. We're here. So everything is here. You just got to make it happen. All right, now, we'll talk about the deal submission process, right? Because this is our first deals event. Eventually, you guys are going to drive the process for us. You're going to submit your deals that you're going to present on your own behalf, okay? That's what this is all about. And hopefully, here we go. So basically, we have a website, or we had a website, on how to submit your deals, right? So what you're going to want to do, go out and input your deals on the form itself, right? And we'll get you the link. The link was there. So you're going to submit your deals. So the next time you come to this meetup, you will be in front of the audience and you'll be presenting the deals. Now, tonight we do have 5 deals that we're going to present, right? I'll probably be presenting 4 of them. Daniel's going to present his deal. I'm waiting on these 2 other wholesalers to show up to present their deals. But if they're not here, I'll present them as well. Okay? This is kind of what the form looks like, or it looked like. Just go back to the presentation. It's all good, man. We made a good effort at it. This is the part I was worried about.
Hard money lender, lawyer, and a bunch of other things. Technology, we're a little new to.
Yeah, we're really new. All right, just go back to the presentation. There's a scan it. Go, you guys can scan it. Can you go back? Let me go back. Scan it on your phone, since we're all millennials. It'll come up with a deal. Submit your deal. You're gonna come up here and present your deal. Okay? The next thing I need to take care of, some housekeeping things. When you guys first got in here, you guys were given a name tag with some color codes. I'm still getting used to the color codes myself. If you're a fix and flipper, you want to go meet the pinkies, the wholesalers, right? If you're need a loan, hard money loan, DSCR loan, look for guys. Oh, I don't have it on mine, but Daniel, he's got green on his. Look for somebody like Daniel who can do your DSCR loans and who can do your other hard money loans. Daniel can do it. I can do it. Whatever. We don't care. Orange is real estate agents. You're looking for an investor-friendly realtor. We've got a lot of investor-friendly realtors in here. There's with the orange sticker. Blue guys are the newbies. I can guarantee you one thing. If you got a blue sticker on, you're going to learn something tonight. And if you don't learn something, I'll give you your money back. You'll double it. All right. This is what we've done. So we wrote a book called The Roadmap to Wealth. Okay? And so I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but this is basically the roadmap that we've created. And so the reason behind this roadmap is that this, can you guys see okay over there, or am I in your way? I can move over. No. You guys okay? So what we've created, and this is the story of our life, is that we've gone from no money, no assets, all the way through the roadmap to where we're generating a lot of passive income. Okay, and how did we do it? Well, we simply did it by finding distressed assets. We were doing pre-foreclosure fix and flips back in 2004, 5, and 6 before there was anything called wholesaling. We were fixing and flipping before there was anything called hard money. It was called subprime. We know what happened to the subprime market. Okay, so then what happened with us is we went ahead and fixed and flipped because there was no such thing as wholesale. We built up this humongous capital stack. So what we did is we turned our capital stack into residential rentals, which we have a lot of those. We also turned it into some commercial properties. But more importantly, we turned the money into a hard money company. We sort of followed the same path as Danny back there. The difference was, I think you sold your rentals, right, to create Washington Capital Partners. We didn't. We kept our rentals. And then what we did is we brought this nice lawyer on board. I don't know his name, but he's sitting over here. And he got us into what's called tax lien certificate investing. So then what we did is at the end of our roadmap is we are now generating tons and tons of what's called passive income. For us, it's not very passive because we're still actively growing our assets to this day, but we do have a lot of passive incomes. And so what that means is that you're financially free. And that's sort of what we teach on this roadmap, okay? All right, Clear Sky, who are we? This is basically who we are. I'm not gonna cover it too fast. Clear Sky Properties, we used to fix and flip 3 to 5 houses a month. We now have a ton of rentals. We do own an industrial park with a gypsy lot with tractor trailers sitting in it. It's the best commercial model known to this world. 70 spaces times $400 a month in spaces. That's our monthly income. Do the math. It's the best thing in the world. We're also a hard money lender. We have 20 times more money out there than Daniel, maybe divided by 10. We have about 40 million out there. We have 2 funds. We have a 506B fund and a 506C fund. So we're also fund managers, just like Danny's a fund manager as well. We're a direct lender, DC, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida. Thanks to Keith, we're in Louisiana. All right, so we're in all kinds of states. Clear Sky Holdings is what Ed was talking about earlier. We do tax lien certificate investing in DC and Maryland. It's also a hard money company. We have another commercial property called Clear Sky Auto. We just recently published a book, and we just launched our education company. That's who we are. All right. my background. Ed, you want to talk about your background? Ed?
I'm a lawyer. So I'm sure nobody wants to hear too much from me, but I think I am in one way a model of a lot of people in the audience in that I had an entire career as an attorney traveling around the country litigating and working for big companies and doing oral arguments and trials. And it was good, and I actually enjoyed it, unlike a lot of lawyers. I then had a little bout of muscular dystrophy, which it turns out is not curable, so that's why I'm in the chair. And I had to retire from that practice. I couldn't travel all over the country and do all of that. And I happened to live near Sam, and we talked at the bus stop and got to know each other and realized something that you guys should realize is you have an incredible network of people to do these things with. There's some are here, some are elsewhere. And so I got involved with Sam and Charlie way back with a car wash that they had, and sort of as fun to invest a little bit back when of course, the financial crisis in 07, 08, it wasn't hard to throw a rock and hit a foreclosure back then. And so that was a good time for me to learn. And it's become a totally new thing for me. I certainly use my legal skills to help these guys in many ways, but I've learned a lot about how to assess properties, and from all the time we've spent together, that's how we came together with our book, which actually I think came out quite nicely, if I do say so. But again, about that networking, even my son actually is the audio-visual guy today. Now, we didn't just hire him as a nepotism hire. He actually went to George Mason Film School and is a film graduate and films music videos and does all sorts of stuff like this. And actually Sam is the one who said, hey, well, we want to have a nice professional AV for our videos with our Clear Sky education for our students and otherwise. So in any event, that's us, and we continue to branch out from that. That's me.
Tax lien certificate guru. All right, keep that in mind. DC, Maryland, okay? Next up, Sam.
So I entered real estate when I was 19. I got a real estate license and paid for college and grad school with it. And about 10 years later, I met Charlie. We were working at a company, a tech company out in Reston. And we had a mutual interest in real estate, and we just started looking for deals. And Charlie was working a regular job, and I had opened a real estate brokerage. I'd go around and look for properties. He'd spot them. I'd go look at them. Then we got together and started selling flipping our first ones together. And we went along that roadmap just as described. So it's been great. And there's so many things to learn every single day. Still, after 30 years of this, I'm still learning every single day.
Yeah, so one of the things that Sam neglected to tell you guys is when we first met, we were both had commonality in that we wanted to be real estate investors. And at the time, Sam was thinking about buying I think a Samson brokerage?
Yeah,
What was
the
it,
one
Samson?
that was out on 123.
And so he had a mentor, and this mentor literally helped him out because he was a real estate agent. And so he had this thing called a lend and list program. So what they were doing is they were going after people in pre-foreclosure, but instead of buying the house from them, they were literally lending the money to them in exchange for a listing to bring the loan current and to renovate the property, and they were getting a nice listing.
And I was a kid, I was like 19, and
Yeah.
no one would give me a listing, but people who needed to lend and list would certainly give me a listing. So I just learned some basic door knocking skills and got out there and met folks and started helping them resolve problems. And that was sort of my introduction to distressed asset sales.
Let me add one thing about Sam that, does everything with our group. And another thing about me, I followed these guys. I describe it as picking up their breadcrumbs early on. Just like you said, Sam, I learned from you guys about the real estate side and then started adding value as an attorney, and we all teach each other really every day. Sam has an incredible skill of executing on deals. Charlie and I, sometimes we focus more with the tax liens. You can get a property, going out and buying. Sam does all of that as well, but he's somebody who knows how to take a property, work with a contractor, make sure everything's priced, and actually make it happen. And that is a big part, I think a lot of people don't know, why you want to know some of the contractors here who understand this kind of renovation project. So Sam's somebody to know if you're ever trying to figure out, why something isn't going the way you want or how you set something up. It's a terrific skill he has.
Thanks.
Yeah, and then last but not least, myself, most of you guys, I know most of you guys in the room. If I've never met you before, welcome. We're sort of a cross between commercial and residential. Maybe at the very beginning of our careers, we were strictly residential, but we have a lot of different commercial assets. And so we've done a lot of development stuff. And so one of the deals that we're going to present today is, believe it or not, one of our development deals. But if you don't take anything away from this, as far as you guys knowing who I am, I've got a lot of charitable causes that I do. One of them is creating Foundations for Hope. I'm part of a nonprofit for affordable housing, and my claim to fame with that group is buying a distressed trailer park in the city of Manassas. So Teresa, I know a little bit about trailer park ownership, lot rent model. I know a lot about that. So I built a trailer park out from distress. We saved how many families? 50 families from having to be relocated. Luis over here is part of that group, creating Foundations for Hope. It used to be called Catholics for Housing. He's the incoming president. I'm the outgoing president. But if you don't take anything from me, guys, when you make a lot of money, give back, please. Make the world a better place. The next thing that we're hopefully going to launch this year, if Sarah just kicks my butt enough, is Clear Sky Sports Angels. We've got a charity that I've at least been given for the last 5 or 10 years out of my own pocket, and that's allowing disadvantaged youth to play travel sports, travel soccer, travel basketball. I got a BMX bike team. If you guys are on my LinkedIn, my Instagram, I'm always getting tagged with this BMX bike team, so I help sponsor a BMX bike club. So if you guys do get to a point in your lives, please give back, okay? All right, okay, last but not least, this is what we've done, Roadmap to Wealth. It's our education platform. We have 6 online classes right now, Fundamentals of Real Estate Investing. We have financial literacy in real estate investing, and we're gonna go over a couple of financial literacy topics here in a second. We've got how to fix and flip, how to wholesale. Our best class is how to find distressed assets. Not gonna really teach you guys here at all, but that's one of our classes. And then, what's the last one? How to find the money. The money's here. Debt service coverage ratio loans, hard money loans, subject to. You guys heard of subject to? Subject to is one a very tiny bit to find houses subject to. Owner-held financing, community banks, normal loan officers, combining the two to buy a house. Use a subject to with the hard money second. We were part of a deal where they did a subject to on a first trust, a second trust, and we were the hard money lender on the third trust. Fix and flip in Richmond. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, okay? So we can help you with that. All right, success stories. Another part of the agenda that I want to do, remember this meetup is for you guys. So I want you guys, if you have any success stories, announce to the group your success story and what you've done. And so I've called on a couple guys. If you guys want to volunteer, if you feel, you go first? Okay.
All right, guys, how y'all doing? My name is Giovanni Ramirez. Thank you, Charlie and Sam, and Ed for letting me present. So, very grateful for them. I actually got connected with my good friend Joe, with Charlie, and then everything's been great so far with them, especially with their education course, and the distressed asset course was amazing. I learned a lot, and because of their help, I've been able to. You want? Okay. Hello.
Good.
Hello. Can
Good.
you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, good. So with that being said, I was able to buy my first one of my first flip with them. It was for $290 in Owensville, Maryland. Put in $75K into it. Selling it for $460, and then I have an offer coming in on the 22nd, because apparently when you buy a FHA loan or when you
FHA, yep.
yeah, FHA loan, and then you have to hold it for 90 days, but I wouldn't 91 days until somebody else with another FHA loan could buy it. So I would have never known that without their course. And I just bought another property in DC, an auction, so that was fun. That's a good experience, and so far it's been great.
All right, congrats. Good. Anybody else?
Oh, one of my
Keith?
funny story is the fact that
oh boy. Uh-oh.
yeah, I didn't know this, but please don't try this at home.
Nope.
So apparently my first flip with them was the fact that the homeowner didn't want to leave. Apparently he did not get the memo that he sold the house to me. So I gave him a grace period that he could stay there, but then it became a nuisance, and then it became a construction zone, and then I bought him an Uber, got him 2 trash kit bags, and then sent him to his son's house. So, but you can't do that.
We don't recommend this. That's Ed Grass Law Firm Incorporated over here.
I'm sorry, I was napping for a second, but one thing Charlie, obviously, and Sam talk a lot about is cash for keys, and it's very successful. But this is a good example. I mean, Giovanni is a fantastic, experienced contractor who's done these sorts of houses and expanding now into, capturing more of the profit by being a fix and flipper. But there's a lot of little details to that you wouldn't know. And just that little, a lot of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with cash for keys. That makes that process a whole lot easier to have somebody move on.
But also, too, to defend Giovanni, this was, and this is going to come up in PG County, Charles County, Baltimore County. You're going to start seeing short sales. So he purchased a short sale. And so a short sale actually was a voluntary sale, right? So it was a voluntary sale. So there was supposed to be a voluntary vacancy. So it's not like he just hijacked some guy, threw him out of his house. I mean, the guy knew for like 9 months that he was selling his house via the short sale. He knew he had to be out. So it's not like he just sent an Uber and put the guy on the street. So I got to caveat that. Anybody else? Keith, you want to bring up something? Keith's back here.
Hey guys, Keith Honore and Nicole Honore. We have a company called 1111 Services. We started investing, doing fix and flips almost a year ago. With the help of Charlie, Sam, and Ed, we've been able to acquire 3 properties. And we have one currently on the market in Stafford. We have one that went to final inspection today down in Dumfries, and I have one in Louisiana that will probably be going on the market within the next 2 weeks. Our very first property was quite the interesting one. My wife actually found it. I thought I left my truck running at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to call her to go see if it was running. She wasn't very happy, but luckily she saw this just overgrown house at the end of the street. I got home later. I went and looked at it, called Charlie up. We did some skip tracing. We found this nice lady lived in Alexandria that the house was heir to. And so Charlie says, okay, Keith, here's all her information. Call her up, see if she wants to get rid of it. She had a brother who lived in the house who passed away. Long story short, the lady cursed me out and said, that's not my house. Don't call me back. All right, there's the end of it. So I called Charlie. I said, Charlie, the lady says it's not her house. He said, BS, that is her house. I said, Charlie, the lady says it's not her house. BS, that's her house. He said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, nothing. He said, meet me at Target. We're going there. I said, going where? He said, to her house. I said, we're going to the lady's house? He said, yeah, she lives in Alexandria. So he puts me in the car, and I mean, it was the best lesson. It was the best introductory to investing on how to be persistent, and I learned so much that day. The lady, this true story, the lady went from she threatened Charlie to shoot him in the face if she didn't get off the property, and 30 minutes later, we were sitting at her table. Her and Charlie were best friends. And, no, true story. Like they were best friends. They go to the same line dancing club and everything.
What was the F-bomb? What was the F-bomb tally?
Say again?
How many F-bombs did she drop on us?
I'm being nice. I'm standing on the sidewalk and
Raining. Thank God you had a hat on.
And it was quite the experience. She asked Charlie a question. He started talking, and she didn't tell him, shut the F up. And so she'd ask him another question. He talked, shut the F up. And then finally she looks at me and she says, are you getting wet? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, get up here. You sit here. I like you. I don't like him. So I'm telling you, we went through a host of emotions. But the one thing that Charlie taught me that day was there's 2 types of distressed properties, physical and emotional. We were dealing with someone with both, an emotional distress and physical. And the key thing he said is, let them talk. Just let them talk. And long story short, she had divulged so much information, she got to a point where she divulged some information where Charlie let her talk, and they had a common person that they knew. And that was it. That was the end. 30 minutes later, we're sitting at the table. Next day, we show up with a contract. She signs this house over, a hoarder house of unbelievable proportion. I've never seen anything like it. 3 feet of trash on the floor for 3 levels. It was, I tell you, I can't, you couldn't pay for the experience that I got, and there was no way I'd be happy. We went to final inspection today, right, Sam? Final inspection today, beautiful home. No way my wife and I get through that project without those guys over there, man. Their knowledge is vast and it's sharp, and we're appreciative for everything you guys have done, and I'm telling you, you're in the right place with these guys.
And the lady you bought it from, she used the money, she gave it
Oh,
all
yeah,
to
this
the
is-
Animal Welfare Society right on the HUD one.
So we offered her 125 grand. She wanted nothing to do with the house. There was a late model 4Runner on the property, which my 16-year-old is just the luckiest guy in the world.
It was paid off, right?
It was paid off.
Paid off,
It was
yeah.
paid off, and
Yeah.
so we said, okay, anything of value in the house, we'll bring it to you. She says, oh no, it's yours. I said, okay, there's a late model 4Runner on the property. That's yours too. And so we're like, okay, we'll be back with a check. Who do you want us to make the check out to? She said, not me. I don't want anything to do with it. So long story short, she eventually offered to give it to me, and I said, no, we can't do that. It just didn't look right. So long story short, she made us write a check to the animal shelter of Alexandria for $125,000, right? But here's the cool thing about that. Before we talked to that lady, we pulled up and we sat in the car. Charlie said, don't get out yet. He said, look at the house. He said, it's a well-manicured house. It's a early model car. He said, money is not going to be a motivating factor here. That was before we said one thing to this lady. And sure enough, money was not a motivating factor. So again, over the last 6 or 7 months, I've really, really learned a lot. It was a great experience. It's been a blessing for us, and the rest is history. So hopefully we can get this thing sold in the next couple of weeks.
All right, so I think we'll do you next month, if you want to. All right. So that's the example of success stories. So hopefully you guys will bring us more success stories that aren't our success stories, because it's not about us. So thank you, Keith. Thank you, Giovanni. That was cool. All right, next. So each meetup that we're going to do, I have a topic presentation on here, but because I'm getting dinged with time, I'll go on to the case study. So you'll see a pattern in these meetups so that we can hurry up and get to the deals part of it. This is a case study. Now, this is an actual live deal that either was positive or negative. It turned out good or it turned out bad. But this happened, 2 weeks ago? And the person is in the room, but I'm not going to say names. All right, here's the background. There's the address, 8555 Gwinnett Way. It was what's called a pre-foreclosure. And I'm going to go through everything about a pre-foreclosure on this in a second. And this thing was going to auction. The foreclosing trust, and I'll show you the trustee sale ad, is $380,000. Okay? There was an ownership chain that I've got mentioned here, and I'll show you the title search in a minute. The ARV was about 575, and I'll show you what we did next, okay? Then the way we knew about it, these are some of the older pictures of the property, because somebody didn't send me the up-to-date pictures, but the up-to-date pictures had dog urine, dog feces all over it. It was a full gut renovation. So the renovation number was about 120 grand, give or take, 100,000, 120 grand. 3-level townhouse, Newington Forest, okay? First step, right? He or she, I'll say she looked through the foreclosure notices, and this is what she found. $380,000 foreclosing trust. Auction date was literally this Friday. And I'm going to finish that at the end and tell you exactly what happened to this property. So the foreclosure auction was Friday, past Friday. Rosenberg was the one doing the auction. So what happened is she contacted this person, however she contacted him, and that person called him back, wanted to set up an appointment. So then what did she next do? She next set up the appointment. She ran comps. First of all, here's the tax records so you guys can take a look at it. It's got the owners here, Calvin and Dracena. Remember, guys, all of this stuff is public information. I would not be presenting it if it wasn't public information, all right? Or my lawyer would whack me, okay? Here's the tax record. The key thing to the tax record, it's in Newington Station. Here's the current people on title, Okay, you got to know that because if you're going to make a deal with them, whether it's a purchase on a fix and flip or whether you're trying to get the listing as an agent, you got to know who's got to sign the contract. Tax assessment was $484,000. 3-level townhouse, 3 bedrooms, one full bath, 2 half baths, 1,489 square feet. Okay, that's what the product type was. Okay. Comps here. Let's see if this works. Look at that shit. I'm awesome. Wow. 565, 562, 562, 550. Now, there was no active listings. So a lot of times when there's no active listings in a certain subdevelopment, it's a bull market. It means prices are going up. No inventory, which means you're going to have competing offers. So the property's going to go up. So we assumed, and these are some of the comps, right? Closed 10, 15, 24, 565, 926, 562. So these are pretty recent comps. That's what we like to do. 120 days is what I've been running, 4 months. Some people run 6 months. Marketplace is changing so fast, especially Washington, D.C., it's got to be a 4-month. We do 120 on the closed comps. All right, so this is what the comps look like. The after repair value in our estimation was about what, 575? 580, 575, somewhere in there. Remember, the foreclosing trust was 380. So there's a couple $100,000 to play with. Now, got a phone call, set up an appointment to meet. What did we do next? We already knew it was a good pre-foreclosure candidate. We showed up. No, we didn't show up. She showed up. But before she showed up, we had to go through what's called a title search. So I'm not presenting the entire title search. You guys can see that okay? Okay, but we got to do a title search because we already know the first trust is foreclosing 380, Federal Savings Bank, right? It was back in 2006. So what does that mean, guys? If it's a 380 first trust that's foreclosing in 2006, guys, that loan's been paid off, been paid for 18 years. So that 380 is probably a little bit less than that. My guess is probably about 330 because it's been in arrears for a long time. However, what the title search showed, a bunch of judgments, right? All over the place. So by the time we added up all of the encumbrances on title, it wasn't worth the pre-foreclosure buy. All right, the encumbrances probably totaled, I'm just guessing, about 420, 425. But then with the $120,000 reno, you're in at 540, you're not gonna fix and flip it, right? You're not doing it. Step 1, we try to fix and flip it. Step 2, this person also happens to be a real estate agent, right? So we always say, never leave the property. If you don't buy it, get the listing, if you're an agent, all right? And so that's what this person tried to do. Now, here's the problem. Now we gotta look at the ownership chain, right? And so the ownership chain is very important. Uh-oh, don't move. We got George Edward and Valicia. They both died, 1999, 2016. Before Valicia died, she did a gift deed to Calvin Lynch and Dracena, Cherry Lynch. I think Dracena was her daughter. All right, keep that in mind. Then what happened is Valicia died, and then you would think the ownership was in Calvin and Dracena's name because this person had died. Now, if the title, and I'll pull it up here in a second. Let's go back. If the title was joint tenants with the right of survivorship, that would have been the case. In this case, this person had a will, and there was what's called a list of heirs filed with the courthouse steps. This is the name of the person that died, right? We've got Dracena Cherry Lynch, but now look what we got. We've got Erica Katrina Epps. We have another heir that owns this property. So when the 3 people owned it, it was 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? When the 1/3 owner died, because they were what's called tenants in common, their interest had to go divided by 2, both to the one daughter that also owned it, but then to this other person named Erica Epps. So now we have a title issue, right? We've got to get that rectified because the one person that we don't know where she's at is a 1/6 owner. So as a real estate agent, you can't even really take the listing because now we have an ownership chain issue. Gift deed, right? This is the gift deed I was telling you guys about. Where is it at? Joint tenants. You see that? Joint tenants. Doesn't say with right or survivorship. So when the one person died, it went down to her kids. So they were one half of a 1/3 interest. So we didn't have a clear chain of title. So we would have had to probate this forever, but we didn't have time because the foreclosure was on Friday, January 3rd. So then what happened? We talked about this a little bit, right? Student made the offer. You can tell everybody who you are if you want. I'm not gonna. Property was in rough condition, need about 100 grand, 120 grand. Remember, option one, offer to buy it as is. Too many encumbrances, didn't make sense. Two, get the listing. We have an ownership change. So what happened was the foreclosure sale was on Friday. They did, by the way, they did file bankruptcy. I confirm that. So the foreclosure auction was canceled, but they did file bankruptcy. So that property is still out there. Now, we have sort of deemed it as a non-pre-foreclosure buy because it has too much encumbrances. But if you want to get it as a listing, I know they kind of want to sell it. But the problem is they don't have the money to put in for the renovation to sell it for what it needs to sell for to handle all the encumbrances. So my guess is the property will come back to a foreclosure sale. The first deed of trust will foreclose. So some courthouse bidder is probably going to end up getting this property. Yeah? Any questions on what I covered? Case study, number one. It's the only case study we have. You'll have another one next month. So any questions from anybody? No questions? You guys understand what happened?
One thing I like to point out with these things is some of these are pretty straightforward. This is definitely one that has an extra level to it. So for the beginners, you have to understand about finding the liens and making sure you understand the real numbers. Sometimes these are great, I think. The more complex, a lot of people will look at these and just say, I'm not interested. There's too much weird going on. And so as you get more experienced, if you're able to deal with the weirdness, you may be able to find a deal that's closable. In this case, you avoided, or the person avoided a landmine of overpaying for something. But that issue of the air complexity, I think will chase a lot of people away, even if there is money in it. They're not going to want to deal with it.
And the more complex it is, the more things you'll see. So you can go much faster when you get to your next deal to look at it if just one or two of those items present themselves. So you can move through deals quickly, and that's the key to getting to a deal is to look at 100 of them and
Right.
look at them fast and effectively.
Right, but remember going into it, we didn't know the complexity of it. But here is a thing, and I'm glad Ed brought that up, is that what you guys got to see is we had to do a title search on George Edward Epps because he's the one that originally bought it with Valencia Epps. So I had to do a title search on George Epps, Valencia Epps, then Valencia added Calvin Lynch and Dresina Cherry Lynch to the title. So those two people needed to be added to the title. And here's what happened. On 10/5/2006, Calvin and Dresina were added to the title. But look what we got. We got some Calvin Lynch judgments in 2009, 2013, 2018. So once he became on the deed, those judgments now attached to the title. So it was a very complicated scenario, but again, we don't know the complexity of it until we actually get into the weeds. And so this was a deal for us that we were excited about, we thought was going to happen, but hey, it doesn't happen. So what? Move on to the next.
So, okay, so let's say, just a really quick question. Oh, it's the thing. Just kidding. So, if you go to the courthouse steps, you bid on it, they've got all these other judgments, let's say they've got second trust, third trust, whatever it is, or you just, and you go bid, closing bid is $390, for example, I don't know, I'm making up a number. Are you then having to pay off as the investor everything else, or that goes away?
Ah, great question. I paid her to ask that question.
Wait, let me tell you what I would charge a lot of money for as any lawyer. I don't do this now because I'm an investor. Maybe. Is that good? I'd like $1,000 for that opinion.
Oh, very good.
Charlie can explain that.
Write the check. $1,000.
That's sometimes lawyers don't like to give you an answer. Charlie give you an answer and it'll be right.
All right. So what she's talking about, it's a good question. She's talking about two things. Number one, we were trying to buy the house directly from the owner. All liens convey. You got to pay off all liens when you're buying it directly from the owner. Now, once it forecloses, remember, this is what's called, see the 380 right there at the top? See, I've got this thing listed in date sequential order, 89, 2006, 2009, all the way down the list. Because this was what's called a senior lien, when the senior lien forecloses at the courthouse steps, once that gavel is dropped on the foreclosure sale, all junior liens get wiped away. Now, there's a caveat. Let's say the 380, let's say they only were owed a full debt bid of 330, and some investor bought it for 420. We have a $90,000 surplus. However, the substitute trustee is probably going to take 5% of that sale off the top, 20 grand, poof. Then there's, let's say, another 50 grand. Then what happens is the 50 grand will then go in the order of the liens. So this judgment on Calvin Lynch at look at this, 9,300, look at this interest rate, 21.95%. Holy shit. Daniel, we're in the wrong business, brother. Let's go. So that one will get paid off. Then the 946, allergy, Innova Health would get paid off. The 14602. Oh, by the way, this 14602 was in favor of Taylor Katrina Lynch, a sister, because the Dracaena posted a bond and posted it fraudulently. Again, another reason why we didn't like the title chain. I didn't cover that, but that's, and then so it goes down. So the senior lien holder forecloses. If there's a surplus, it goes all the way down the lien chain. Then the owner gets the rest of that money.
Now, if you're in the district, and this is in the district, and there are water liens, transfer taxes, depends on what it says in the ad.
Yes.
You have to pay those as well.
Yes, be careful. But that's at the foreclosure sale at the courthouse steps.
That's the foreclosure.
You have to pay my tax lien. That's where a lot
Oh
of
shit,
people
we got
make-
another deal on that one. Elm Street, we have the tax lien on it. Well, I'll talk to you, Justin, yeah.
And
that's
that, yeah, that's, so generally speaking,
Yeah.
it's going to be that order with private liens, but then you have to be a little careful with the IRS and the
Yeah.
DC taxes and everything else. So that there goes the maybe, $1,000. Anyway.
One last quick question. So sometimes when you're looking at pre-foreclosures and the foreclosing trust is super low, it's like 50,000. That's indication it's like a second trust. So if you go, like, is that a potential opening bid? Like, is that, you know what I mean? Is that?
I bid on
okay?
I bid on a second trust today, and I was actually hoping to get the house so I could bring it up here today. No, what you want to do though is if you know that it's a second trust, you got to do the title search on that second trust, because when you buy a second trust at the courthouse steps, anything above it, so remember the second trust, we'll call it junior. Junior means it's in second position. You're going to have to do what's called a subject to the first trust. So you're going to have to pay off the first trust balance. What really irritated me today, it pissed me off, is the substitute trustee lawyer, pain in the ass, he went ahead and told the other bidders what the balance of the first trust was. I knew that information coming into the auction. None of my competitors knew it, so he told everybody what the balance was. They simply added the first trust balance subject to the second trust balance, and they ended up buying it. So, yeah.
Okay, so you got to pay both off. If
You
it's
do,
a
you do.
second.
As a matter of fact, if it's a second trust and there's a first trust, but there happens to be a bunch of HOA liens in between the second trust origination and the first trust, you're responsible for those HOA liens as well. So anything on title between the foreclosing instrument and the senior instrument, you're responsible for all that stuff.
And we need to move on, but
Yeah, we do.
time-wise, but the other thing is that always scares me, A, is it a first or second trust that you're buying at the auction? And B, if it is the second, how bad is the first trust? Because again, some lawyer has been collecting on that. So how much is some lawyer run up in fees and penalty interest and everything else? And it's a real art to figure that out.
Here's the art. Here's what I did. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I did a title search on it. There was not a substitute trustee filing on the first trust.
Right.
That told me the first trust was current. I knew it was close to current because no law firm had picked it up. So I did a negative amortization on it. I knew exactly what that first trust payoff was because I went and figured out the interest rate, and I had the number. Nobody else had the number. They would have thought it was like 280. The payoff was 245. But the lawyer, Ed's friend, was nice enough to tell everybody at the auction what the first trust payoff was, and old Chucky boy, of course, didn't get the house. Don't feel bad for me. Got it? You guys understand? Not bad, right? Good case study, right? You guys learn something? Okay. Now we're going to get to the heart of why you guys are here. Let's make some money. All right, first deal. This is a fix and flip. And so I've got to caveat it. We had a little group call with our students yesterday, right? 1 o'clock. Tuesday. And so one of the questions was, and it was a good question. I need to caveat this, guys, because I got my lawyer here. They asked, does Clear Sky bless these deals? The answer is we do not bless these deals. This is a deals meetup. We're going to go through a deal or two? We'll go through them. But what we do bless, and you guys have to understand this. We bless the control of the deal. In this case, this is under a wholesaler control that I know really, really well. I know he has control over it. The next two deals that you're going to see, Daniel, you're third up, are owner deals. They happen to be REO deals. The next two deals after that are going to be wholesaler deals that we have vetted that we know they control them. So we have blessed the fact that these deals not only are off market and they're out there, but we know the control of them, okay? So you can be sure of that.
Yeah,
but we
really,
don't.
And really what we're trying to do with this, the lawyer excuse here, we're trying to give a framework of how we analyze these, somewhat how you analyze them. And there can be factors out there, if depending on how deep you go, just like Charlie's case study was, if you don't go deep enough, you're not going to find them. And we may not have reason to go that deep, you may. The other thing is a deal that might make sense for us may not make sense for you. Conversely, and Giovanni's a good example, we don't have directly in our team a contractor. We use contractors, we have trusted contractors, we know the numbers pretty well, but a deal that's not right for us might be great for somebody like Giovanni because he knows those numbers. He could even do that closer to cost, knowing he'll get his profit out on the back end. So it's not just the lawyer excuse of the fine print at the end. We hope that you learn some of the structure, and we're going to tell you some things we see. You may see other things.
Okay, good. You guys got it? All right, deal number one. 1221 Kennedy Street Northwest. It's a good part of DC. 20011, pretty sure it's Brightwood. We know Brightwood really well. We've done a lot of fix and flips over there back in the day. Semi-detached. This one happens to be a row home. 3 levels, 1921 built. Square footage is 1616 over 760. Now, when you're in Washington, D.C., the name of the game is square footage. The name of the game is beds and baths, right? Can I add a bath in the basement? What's my lower level look like? Can I dig it down? How can I get that usable square footage? D.C. is a square footage game. It's a little bit different than Northern Virginia, Maryland. Okay, so that's why I got to put the square footage. Tax assessment, 671, 480. Right now, it's configured as a 4-bedroom, 1 bath. You want to add, under the deal type, it's a fix and flip. You do probably want to add 2 full baths and then finish the below grade space. So already off the top, that's about $175,000 renovation. I don't have actual pictures of this deal. It's not our deal, it's a wholesaler deal. I verified he's got it under control. So these are the numbers. ARV 875, 175 reno, 525 our best offer. Okay? How is it wholesaler controlled?
And a good example again of this is based on our experience, that number's pretty good. Like I talked about Sam executing. Charlie has a good sense of the numbers. Sam is constantly doing these, so he's seeing the current prices for contractors. If you are a fix and flip investor and have every other piece, but you don't have a contractor you trust, that 175, through nobody's fault, could become 225. In fact, there's obviously some risk. One property we had recently had hidden foundation problems that really jacked up the price of the property. So there's some things even the best analysis won't do.
As Dominion?
Yeah.
Dominion,
Yeah, it did not look like it had the problems. Partly it was a hoarder home. How would you see some of those problems?
Right.
So you are a little bit spinning that roulette wheel.
Right.
Even when you think you know the stuff. You know?
Right, and the other thing too, just from, and we didn't get enough pictures, but it's an N unit row home, so you might get a little bit more. But our 875 is close. And you guys can run the comps yourself. to keep us in check. 1221 Kennedy Street. All right, first one. If you're interested in it, I guess just call me, right? I don't have a point of contact. It's Harry's Wholesale, so just if you're interested in it, let me know. Next one. This is ours, actually. And if you guys noticed, I put Sam up here as the contact. Call him. This is a property, 8427 Allentown Road, 3.84 acres of land. What this is actually a real estate development deal. It's platted and approved for 6 family homes, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. The product type that we want to see on this, guys, is a house about 3,000 over 1,500 square feet. So it's a 3-level house. That's the finished product. 3,000 top 2 levels, basement 1,500. The out price on these guys is about $850,000 per unit. I've got comps to prove it and to show you guys. And I also have another chart that will show you guys kind of the numbers and how it works. But this is owner controlled. So I got a wholesale deal, an owner deal, and Daniel's going to present his deal here in a second. Here are pictures of the 2 existing houses that are on the property. This was an owner take-back deal. We do have 2 houses that we're renting out now. One's a duplex. We got 2 renters in there, and then one's a regular house. So we're getting about, what, $4,000 a month on it, $4,200 a month or something. And we've held this property for a few years while we were getting the development going on it because we knew we were going to repurpose it and sell it as a 6-unit development. Okay?
It'll be vacant this June.
Yeah, it'll be vacant. This is what the site plan looks like. For you guys who can't see Lot 1, you got parcel A with one of the houses on it. Lot 2, Lot 3, Lot 4, Lot 5. So we have six houses. You can choose to tear down that house or you can choose to keep it. We've got the value of that house at about $500,000. The value of the existing house.
It's a nice flat area. The only impairment on it is the entry.
Yeah.
It's narrow right here, 50 feet, and it's adjoined by some commercial space. But once you're past that point and you see the homes, it's really nice. It's very quiet.
Right.
It's
We had to
super
get a
quiet
utility.
cul-de-sac.
We had to get a utility variance, right?
Yeah, to go right down the center.
Yeah. They wanted to see a wider entryway. And the main road is Allentown Road. So.
Which is right here.
Yeah. Okay, so the finished product types, 3,000 over 1,500. This one's probably a little bit bigger. That's under contract, 845,000, 2018. Another one on Allentown Road, 632. Sun Valley Drive, brand new house, 846. Look at the product type. As a matter of fact, this is smaller.
And that's
3,000
that's
over
perfect
1,000.
product for this lot.
Yeah, that's perfect for that lot. So that's 846. 817, 800, new construction 800. So we're close, 825 to 850 out price. It might take a year to get this thing up so the market's going to move. So it'll probably get even more than that. The way it looks from a number standpoint is you have an out price of $850,000 times that by 6. You can keep the one house. I'm not sure I'd keep it. I'd probably bulldoze it. So 850 times 6, what's your out? About $5 million on the out price. Now, what you're going to have to do, though, guys, that I didn't put in here, remember, these are platted lots. Okay. You're going to need to do an engineering for about $75,000. Sam said it probably maybe $100,000. What that means, guys, is this is what's called a paper plat. We've got the site plan approved. We've got them all individual plats, but there is some engineering that needs to be done. Curb cuts, utility cutouts, that kind of thing, storm management, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to cost between 75 and 100 per lot. Okay, so all in. Total value of the lot's 875. So we're asking the house sits about 500, 1.375 million. We'll take less than that if you guys are interested. If you got any developers that might, I know Pat, you might want to look at if there's any other guys in Maryland. Oh, that's the other thing too. Sorry, guys.
That's the important.
Sorry, guys, I forgot. After all the numbers, $150 a square foot to construct this guy. We might be a little high. We don't do this for a living. You probably could get it done for $125, but you're still going to get about $150,000 profit per house. So whatever 150 times 6 is, that's a good number that you guys could probably see out of it. 150 times 6. Okay?
And let me use this as an example for one of the things, especially for our newer people that we teach in our courses. notice what these guys did. They got this property back and they took the time to get the site plan. Okay, I could make a site plan. I think it's called siteplan.com or something. They'll do from a survey, they'll put a site plan together, it'll look great. It's not a real site plan. It's the value in a property like this is having the right kind of documentation. And notice the disclosure, they're talking about there's still more than that. The real difficulty in a project like this, many ways, is having is because you will hear sellers all the time say, "Oh, this is a duplex that you can buy, or this is a 5-unit apartment building. Just you take the keys and you're good to go." Turns out it has none of those approvals. It's being used that way illegally. Or a property like this, they say, "Look, this would be a great development," but they haven't started the site plan process. Which how long did that take you to do?
Probably 2 years.
Yeah, I've had to give them psychiatric counseling for some of these.
It's been quite a long time. We had to get an engineering firm, a field studies firm, attorneys, several different types of attorneys to work through the issues, and special approvals and fit within changes in the government's regulatory structure. It was really quite a lot of hurdles, and that you're all at risk that whole entire time. You don't know how many lots you're going to get. I think we were going to start with 8 lots there, Charlie. I can't remember exactly. We were done with 6 by the time we had space for our sewerage and so forth. So
I think we had some RPA issues too.
yeah,
RPA.
yeah, there was some environmental.
Someone took 2 of my lots.
Yeah.
And that also is a way that if you buy a property that doesn't have all of that, if you're willing to spend that time and that effort to get the plans, then it raises the value.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys could have dumped this without plans, but for a lot less money. The other thing is there's a lot of little tricks on plans that architectural plans sometimes are not that easily transferable. Right. This sort of stuff. Sam's the guy who runs into this and is very experienced in finding that. So you have to do your due diligence that you're dealing with a buyer that's at least not intentionally misleading you, number one, but then number 2, that you understand, what do I really do and what is my risk profile? There's a construction cost risk and there's maybe some with the engineering, but it's much more confined than the pie in the sky people who say, here's a piece of land, you could build 15 houses there.
Yeah, there's all types of odd considerations. We talked about the narrowness of the driveway. It was 6 inches narrower than is allowed. That required a variance. That's not something you can litigate. They just tell you whether you get it or you don't after you do all these studies and you get someone out there and measure it off precisely. Then you get to the very end and they say, well, we've just done some analysis, and because of the the response time of the police force in that particular locale, we're not going to be able to allow you to develop anything because it takes them 9 minutes instead of 7. And then you have to get another study done to evaluate whether the distance is just right. There are just so many nuances to the development. They think of something that you just could never envision coming up as a problem. But we're done with that. And now it's ready for someone to build some houses on.
Okay, next one up, Daniel. Come on up. So the next one we got is a 6-unit apartment building. And Daniel, I got to get away from the speaker. It's on you. You're good.
All right. Hi, everybody. Great to meet you all. I'm sure some of you already. Thank you, Charlie, for the nice introduction. I'm Daniel Huertas from Washington Capital Partners. Charlie and I collaborate. We don't compete. We work in different parts of the hard money spectrum. So happy to help you. Obviously, go through Charlie first. If he thinks you guys can go to me, fantastic. Happy to help you there. So I'll tell you about this property. So 1260 Holbrook is a property that we took back. We're not in the business of flipping. I used to do that from 2008 to 2012, where you can actually find a flip. You said it very well. Throw a stone, you find a flip, right? And in 2012, I founded WCP. And since then, we have closed over 4,500 loans, allocated over $2 billion of capital in this region. And unfortunately, not every deal goes right. And this is one of those. And the good news to you guys is that when we do loans, we want to make sure that people go through the right process. We have foreclosed over around 60 properties since we started. So I think it's a good ratio, 60 foreclosures, over 4,400 successful loans. So that actually speaks a lot about some of the things that we do in the company. But about this property, this is a 6-unit building that, mind you, this is not for everybody. Being a landlord in DC is a whole different animal. It's difficult, it's not easy, it's high maintenance. So that's the disclaimer that I give everybody. This is a property, again, that what we decided to do is to vacate the property. So the property is being delivered vacant. We perform at the property for a subsidized housing. I spoke with Charlie a little bit earlier today, and he mentioned that this is the rents that we have in there are a little bit lighter. The total rents that you can bring in this building is $186,000 from the 6 units. Now, that being said, this property is a very, very long lot. It's got 2 parking garages in the back. We don't figure the money that can bring a couple of spaces to bring rent in the city, but you can think maybe $300-400 per garage space times 2. That's another $800 per month. What else you guys want to know? What else, Charlie?
There's the pictures, there's a floor plan.
Yeah.
It's turnkey, right?
Yes, we just renovated the building, so it's turnkey. It's a nice white box, brand new appliances. But again, every tenant that will go in there, especially subsidized housing, go in there that you will be renovating very often, because that's the nature of DC subsidized housing.
I'm curious, if you don't mind me asking, did you give any thought, since it's vacant, any thought to condoizing it? Because as you know, and many people probably know, the real difficulty of making condos from an apartment in DC is emptying it out. So to have an empty property, would this be a candidate for that, or something you just think this is a better use?
So if we go back to the floor plan, that's a great question. It's a great idea. So this is the floor plan. It's a mix of 3 bedrooms and 2-bedroom units. It will pencil out as a condo conversion. So the condo conversion process will take you anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Now, that said, that's a path that I didn't take. So whoever wants to own it can choose to have a cash flowing property, or a property that, after going through that process, can sell it. Now, next door to it, we actually had a different project that was 10 units over 4 buildings, and the numbers were around $500,000 a piece, but we're looking at 1,500, 2,000 square footage units. So it will be a great exercise to go through the numbers and see if this will do as a condo. Now, we fixed it as a rental grade product. Now, you may need to do more in the finishes in order to get condo grade out sale.
So does it have, or is it ready for occupancy permits and all of that?
Yeah, it's got a CFO. It's, again, turnkey.
You can, for anybody out there who's interested in possibly buying it, renting it, and then later turning it into condos, look up TOPA and DOPA in DC, and you'll see the complexity. It's unusual to have an empty building like this, and if somebody wants to do it, now would be the time to do it. But the finishes, so this is pretty much ready to go at that level of finishes as a rental. And we have quite a few, I guess they have a new name now, Section 8 rentals. They can be terrific. I mean, the government is basically guaranteeing a lot of the rent, but renting in DC is definitely a thing.
Exactly. And like I said, my business is being a lender. It's not being a landlord. So I'm happy to pass on this opportunity to anybody else. And that said, we do have other properties as a lender that we have, unfortunately, foreclosed because of the last couple of years of market liquidity, liquidity crunch. So you got my name, you got my email, my phone number. Just tell me what price you're looking at in Virginia, Maryland, DC. We probably have something from $100,000 to $5 million.
Yeah, Daniel has a lot of properties. Okay, so he's got a lot of good deals out there for you guys, especially if you're looking for cash flow deals. All right, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right. So now with Daniel here, one of the things that I want to do is, remember guys, we cut our teeth on the residential side, so we kind of morphed into the commercial side. So I want to build with you guys what's called a net operating income based on this property, and so kind of show you what it looks like. And so one of the things that we do when we analyze any kind of commercial properties, I don't look at a 5-year, 10-year, whatever pro forma. I only look at it from the most granular level. That's the monthly snapshot. So we're going to kind of figure that out with you guys. So he has 3 units, roughly $1,880 a month, right? Plus he has another 3 units, 3 bedrooms, $3,312 a month, right? Times that by 12, you get $186,000. All right? That's your net income. So let's talk about the expenses. What are some expenses? What? Taxes. Daniel, what's your property taxes? Give me a number.
I don't know, like $5
$5
grand.
grand. We'll go 8. I'm not going 5. We got property management. What'd you say? 10%? Oh, hell no, I ain't paying 10%. Y'all want to manage my properties? We ain't paying 10. I love you, though. You want to do 10? I'm going to do 6. 6? 8. So times, somebody give me a 0.08 times 186.
Roughly 14.8. Yeah.
Okay. Maintenance on this guy. How much per month? Just give me a number, I don't care.
$1,000 a month.
Damn, I love you, man.
Well, you just
right.
renovated.
Well, is it all like the A-track, the big stuff is
All
all
right.
new?
Insurance, we'll say what? 2,500? How much insurance?
It's going to be more than that.
4?
Rentals.
All right. What else? You want me to do that? Vacancy rate?
It's going to be low.
Section 8.
It'd be more than non-payment rate.
Remember, though,
vacancy.
5%.
we're going to Section 8 this guy, probably. And the Section 8 rents in I didn't tell Daniel this because he's my competitor. I'm hiding things from him. Section 8s in 2002 are higher than that because I had a totally different pro forma with the higher rents, but we're going to take his rents. What'd you say? What's 5%? All right. How much is that?
On what?
Don't make me do math. That's why I went to law school.
What are we, 5%? What do we got? More reserve.
I love you guys. All right. Somebody add this up. 8,000, 14,800, 1,000, 4,000, 9, 13,000, 27,800. What's 27,800, 9,300? What? Even?
Close enough.
Oh, shit, I want to be exact. Come on, 8,000, 14,800, 15. 5, 13, 27,800. What's 27,800, 9,300? 27,800 plus 9,300. All right, 37,1. Guys, I'm going to get to my point here in a minute. 2, 1, 8. Is that 37? 9, 4. Okay. 149,812. What's that mean, guys?
Your net.
Huh?
That's your net.
149,812 is called the net operating income. That's your free flow cash flow. Now, we're going to bring up another concept, guys, and we're going to call something called cap rate. You guys know what a cap rate is? Well, I know you do. Oh, by the way, syndication folks, raise your hands. Look around the room, guys. If you guys don't know what a syndication is, you're looking to place long-term money, talk to these guys. I forgot to mention you guys at the beginning. I really apologize. When I was talking about Daraj is here. Not yet. Hold on, brother. Net operating income has nothing to do with debt service. We don't care. We do care, but we don't. Okay, now, let's talk about a cap rate. And I'm just going to go over 2. I'm going to go over 10 cap, 8 cap. I'll even do a 6 cap because I like you. Okay, what does a cap rate mean? A cap rate means if I have $1 million, how much do I want to invest my $1 million to make? So let's say I want to do a 10 cap. 10 cap is about 10% return. I want a 10% return on my $1 million. I want $100,000. If I want a 5 cap, I only want $50,000. 6 cap, same thing. Okay, it's the percentage of return you want on your money. So the value of this property is very simple. If I am getting $149,000, $812 a year, if I'm at a 10 cap, what's the property worth? Hell yeah, it's easy. 1, 4, 1, 9, right? I'm sorry. What? 1, 4. Yeah, sorry. I think you guys learned something here. Okay. We'll go 5 cap because that's pretty simple. Just double that. So what's 1.498 times 2? I'm just going to do this, man. Almost 3 million. All right, now somebody do me this. Divide 149,812 divided by 0.08. What do you get?
1.872.
What?
1.872.
All right. Now, there you go. Now, if somebody is trying to make, now would you guys all say an 8% return is good on your money? Yes or no? Oh, hell, I need these people to invest in our fund. Oh, we're the guys for you. We pay out 9.5. No, I'm just kidding. So 8% ain't bad. Remember, though, at an 8 cap, that's what we call it, it's worth 1.872. He's asking for $1.8 million. This is actually, when it's fully available, this is actually a decent investment. The thing that I didn't tell you is what you need to do is if you turn into a Section 8, your vacancy probably isn't around 5%. 5% might be a little high for this property, but that's okay. The other thing, too, is that his rents, in my opinion, might be a little low for DC.
And the garages.
Huh?
I didn't count the 2 garages.
Right, and they got garages, and it's in a zip code called 2002. It's by Gallaudet, right? So you could rent it to.
Walking distance to Gallaudet University.
Yeah, so we had a 4-plex, matter of fact, on the same street that we had to take back, and we sold it to the University of Utah. And we got, what did we get for it? More than 2.1?
Yeah.
We got more than that. We got like 2.1, 2.2
Units
for
were
it.
a little bigger. They were a little,
Yeah, but we only had four.
we did.
But ours were 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
They were 2 level.
So my point to you guys is if you're really trying to be commercial investors, you had better know how to figure out a net operating income. Now, I know Tom and Teresa, they like to do 5-year performance and all that stuff in their syndications, a little bit more advanced, but that's okay. As long as you can look at it from a monthly granular and do a very simple month-to-month view on it, we already know, based upon his cash flow, 10 cap, I mean, that's a pretty rich cap, let's face it. I think an 8 cap is probably more average, 1.872. But if he could sell it for a 5, which I don't think he will, I mean, now it's worth $3 million. But the way to increase the value of a commercial asset is by how? Commercial guys, how do we increase the value of a commercial asset? We raise the rents. You add value and you raise the rents. That's simple. That hard, but that's simple. So if these rents are off by 10%, this value doesn't just go up 10%. It goes up a little bit more. Okay? There you go. All right. Any questions for me and Daniel? Oh, the other thing about Daniel is he's got a hell of a lot more deals. Call him up. All right. There you go. Thank you.
So one more thing that maybe you can talk to them is the power of the leverage. When you finance it, the return on the capital goes higher.
Right. You guys hear that? Who asked a question about you forgot the debt service? You, Daraj? You're right. However, if you're buying it at an 8 cap, and you're borrowing money against this, in order for that leverage to work, that I recommend, he says, you'd be better be borrowing at less than the 8% interest rate. Then you can use the leverage.
So today, I mean, you can find DSCR loans in the 6% range.
Yep.
You probably need to put 30% down.
Yep.
But what I mean by that, if you put in 30% down, which is about, call it $500,000 on that price, you gotta think the $500,000 will be north of 10% return as far as your capital goes. So, and again, this property used to appraise for a lot more. The reason that it's selling for that number or at those numbers is because liquidity crunch, interest rates went up a lot, and most multifamily lost about 30 to 40% of the value. So, yeah. I think today is a good time to keep them, but like I said, I'm not a landlord. I like doing loans, so I just like to move on.
Well, and we always like too to talk about the exit strategy. You know, something like this, if you're collecting doors and apartments, that could be a long-term play. It could be a medium-term play as well, I suppose. If you fill this up, you have it stabilized with a transferable, and the market sort of recovers a bit, then you can sell it maybe a few years down the road. You've got a rent roll, even if it's a Section 8 rent roll, you've got real operating numbers instead of estimates. You know, you may be able, and these come into favor that much more than the cap rate goes up. So there's a lot of, we always like to look at all the different outs. Do we buy it? Do we hold it? Do we sell it? Do we flip it? You know, I like it when there's 4 good answers are great. 5 good answers better. 2 good answers can be good too. It just depends on your circumstances.
You got it, exactly.
Exactly.
That's how you build it, right? It's how you build your portfolio.
Yeah, and if you get committed to it, once you learn the process, DC is quite a thing, but once you learn the process in DC, how to deal with rentals, you'll know how much it costs, the reality of getting somebody out of a property. A lot of people don't know that. So that becomes a valuable lesson that you have, and you may say, yeah, I know how this works, I know how to value this. So you're gonna start buying more properties and become more of an apartment owner. That works too. It just depends on your personality.
Yeah, and also too, remember, we're talking about 600 and 635 square foot units. So even if you have to renovate them on a tenant move out, it's not that big of a space to do any, renovation on. It's pretty simple. So, I mean, we didn't really talk about property turnover in here, but it's not a bad cash flow. Thank you, sir. And also too, he's got other deals. So I would imagine we're gonna be giving us, 1 or 2 deals a month here? All right. Okay, any questions? You guys good? All right, we'll move forward. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. All right, we got 2 more. They're both not here, so I'll go over them really quick. How are we doing on time? 8:30, I think we're doing all right on time, Sarah, right? We're doing good. So we'll probably hold the last 10, 20 minutes for questions or any ad hoc deals that you guys might have. This deal, 600 Tuckerman Street, Northwest. That's definitely Brightwood. Price $470 or best offer, I'm assuming. I was hoping Chris and Shanklin would be here so they could present their own deals, but I'll go ahead and do it real quick. His contact information's up top. We're going to post these deals too, by the way. So once the meetup is over, we'll post them so you guys can go and take a look at. My goal next meetup is to hopefully get a couple of Virginia deals in here. And then my goal is also for you guys not to hear me talk as much, that I don't do as much talking and you guys do more presenting than me talking. We'll see if that happens. Tuckerman, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, price $470, renovations $90, 785,000 ARV, fix and flip. It's controlled by a wholesaler. I didn't put the square footage in there. I probably should have done that. I was assuming that they were going to be here to present it, bad assumption. And the next deal is same one, 1932 11th Street Northwest. Now 2001's a great zip code in DC. 11th Street, this is close to Capitol Hill. 11, I don't know how many blocks off, but that's a really good address. 6 beds, 3.5 baths. 975 price, 1.975 million. Remember, guys, we can't run comps, can we?
No, tonight.
Remember, I got to caveat this. We can bless the deals, but we can't bless the deals. In other words, we can bless the fact that they have it under control. It's a trusted source, but I cannot bless these numbers. They didn't come from us. We would simply run comps, but I don't think we're not connected good enough, right? All right. Next time we'll be set up and ready to go. So these are the numbers on that. And that's about it. That's it, really, guys. Reserve your spot next time. We're going to do this every month on the 13th. If you guys have any question, answers that we had talked about, any deals that you might want to present, anything ad hoc, this is your floor. It's open to you guys. Justin, yep.
I have a question about that 6-unit deal. For me, I don't have that much cash sitting in my account to make the down payment on it. So what would be the best way to get the DSA loan and then get the down payment? I mean, I'm thinking like syndication type of thing, but what would be the best way?
Yeah, I'm just going to answer that. A friend of mine out in Seattle, he does syndication, basically, or a fund, or somebody you know that has $500,000, but probably syndication or a fund.
Is it too small for a syndication, or is it okay?
I don't think so, because you're going to
Okay.
probably change the fixtures. You can probably change the CapEx.
Okay.
It's three, you said it's 3 units, and it's
6 units.
It's
It's 3 2-bedrooms and 3
how many
3
garage
bedrooms.
spaces? 2? 2 garage spaces?
How many garages? 2?
Yeah,
Two.
I would syndicate it.
It's brand new.
Doing it.
It's turnkey. Yeah, it's turnkey.
I mean, I think you're right. You probably would change the fixtures a little bit. That's what I would do if I were doing it. So.
Yeah, I mean, the one caveat with the building, again, because we're all learning, is the square footage obviously is small units, small unit sizes. So you gotta price that in. That is not as desirable as a 1,000 plus square footage unit. So it was built mostly to be an apartment building. So just keep that in mind. Now, the market today is not as attractive, but if you're in a market like 2021 or 2022, people will just buy it because they need somewhere to live. So.
I was going to say that same person who did that, who does those condo conversions in Seattle, also did one in Danville, Virginia, and just people rent them to be Airbnbs, to be I guess there's a casino in Danville, but that's just a thought. So there's lots of people that might be interested.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunities with this building going back to this. The good thing is that it's walking distance to Gallaudet University. So you can rent it to college students, look into it. The school program starts in August. So you can sell it to their parents.
Union Market is right there.
Yep. So it's out of the Trinidad area, it's in a good place in Trinidad. So
Sam, we can't build a loan, right? We can't toggle back.
No, we would normally go back and toggle and show you how we would build a loan if we were going to do a loan around this. But next time we'll do it. We'll be set up for that.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. Well, first of all, did you guys enjoy this? Was this format good? You liked it. Okay. Did you learn something? I hope. Learned a lot. All right. Well, unless you guys have any other questions or comments or concerns, I planned on keeping you guys here till about 9, but you have longer to network. So thank you very much for coming, and sign up. We're the second Wednesday of each month. All right? Thank you, guys. Thanks.
At this, you mean the deal? I mean this thing?
Yeah. I think I got it at the end. Hold on.